Okay, how to remove the recent projects? I mean, the projects what we worked recently. From this recent projects pane. The way how we can do that one is delete the projects first and then try to open that. It will ask the file or folder so and so cannot be opened. Do you want to remove the reference to it from the recent list? If you click on it, the project will be removed from the recent project list. First, what we have to do is we have to delete the solution file, and then we have to try to open it. Then it will prompt saying that this project is deleted from the location. So do you want to remove the reference also? If you click on it, then it will be removed. This is just a useful tip that how to remove the reference from the recent projects. Now let's go back to our work, that is SSRS. I'm taking a new SSRS solution here, new SSRS project, and in this one we're going to discuss about report server project. In last session we discussed about report server project wizard, and we created a couple of reports in different styles, that is table format and matrix format. And if you observe the table, wizard report server project wizard applications projects, it will start with the wizard, and when you finish the wizard, like clicking next by filling some valid data, at the end the report will get ready. So everything is wizard here, nothing to write or nothing to create an object on your own. So let's take an example again. I clicked on OK. Immediately a wizard get opened. I've given the credentials here. See the button next. Here I have to build the query. I added a table. Okay, and again next, tabular format, and have to give some column details. Here it is, and gender here. Next, and at the end, when I click on finish, then a report will get created. So everything wizard. When I walk through the wizard, the data source will be created, which is required to set the connection to the data warehouse or database to pull the data, and it will define the format of the report, and it will create the report. So this is about wizard, report server wizard project. Now let's see how to work on report server projects. And for that you have to choose this template, report server project, and give a valid name. And again it is pointing to desktop. You can continue this, or you can change to your preferred location. And once you click on OK, the report server project open, and everything is empty, and no wizard get open. No wizard will open whenever you select report server project. Here you have to create everything on your own. Okay, let's do one by one. First thing, what's the first thing what we have done when working on report server project wizard? That is creating the data source. Here there is an option. You can either create the shared data sources, or you can directly create the report data source that is embedded to the report. Let's start a shared data sources, and we can use it again and again in the report development. So I'm starting with creating a shared data source. For creating a shared data sources, you have to right click on the shared data source folder here and add new data source. You have to give a name. Remember, there should not be any space. And you have to give the server name and give the database details. There's the connection. Okay. Now credentials. It is Windows authentication. Fine. If it is SQL Server authentication, then you have to provide the user ID and password, and you can give the text file for prompting for the, for user ID and password. And if there is no credentials, you can leave it like. So my system has Windows authentication, so that is fine. And when I click on OK, a shared data source is created. A data source, a data connectivity is set to the AdventureWorks database in my that is that is present in my local database. So the shared data source is ready, and what the next thing we have done is defining the layout. Let's see how to do that. How to create a report here. You can opt either add new report item, okay, or go to add and new item. If you select this add new item, then you will find all these things: report wizard, report, and data source. Report wizard is the same option again what we have done using report wizard project. So it's already we discussed about those kind of reports. So now let's go with report item. This is the report item. Select that and give a proper name. An RTL file is created. As you can see on my right hand side, the extension is RTL, and an empty area for designing the SSRS report. It's not like wizard. Wizard will open a pop-up, open a wizard, and when you click on next, after filling that data, then at the end the outcome is a report. Here it's not the case. Here we have to add one by one. What the next important thing what we have done after adding the data source? The next important thing is creating the data set. We have created data set on a dim customers table for our last report. Now let's try to do the same, where to create the data set and how to design the report. If you see here you can see all the options: data source, data sets, parameters, and image. Already I created a data source. Why I need to create it? I created a shared data source. Now why I need to create a data source again? This data source is local, local to this particular report. You are gonna use reference of that, whatever the shared data source you created, but there should be a data source created for each and every report, and let me name it as report_ds. Here the details, like you can either embed or you can use the shared data source what you have created just a couple of minutes back, and that shared data source will be listed here. You can select it, or you can create a new shared data source here using this option if you have not created it earlier, and click on OK. Now a data source is created pointing to the shared data source connection, using the shared data source connection as a reference. And now let's work on creating the data set for this report. Before creating data set, you have to define the data source, and we have done that. Now let's go with the data set. customers. I'm calling it as customers data set. And this is my data source. What I've created now that is specific to this report. You can see it on the left hand side pane. And what is the query format you are gonna give? Whether it's a text or stored procedure. Text means it's a simple text like select star from a table name or so. Stored procedure means if you have a functionality and if you have written it in a stored procedure and the outcome of the stored procedure is a table, then you can give the stored procedure as a query type here. Let's go with the text here. And if you want a wizard to create this query, then you can go with this query designer. Here you have to give the query. Select star from dim customers. And this option, this button is to check. It is saying this dim customer is not available. I think it is dim customer. Here I can see the data. So I've provided the query which fetches the data set for my report. And these parameters, these options like parameters, fields, options, filters are useful to design your report to improve the performance of your report, and we're going to discuss about all these options in a couple of minutes. Okay, now I clicked on OK. The data set is created and all the fields are also loaded into the data set. You can see all the fields here. You can restrict the fields. If you don't want a couple of fields, then you can restrict by giving the proper query. For example, I need only gender, comma, first name, comma, middle name, comma, last name. Then after providing that, I can refresh the fields, and if I click on OK, then only those fields will be displayed here. So it depends. If you want all the columns, all the fields for your report generation, then you can go with select star, or else you can restrict it by providing the list of columns that are required for your analysis. So while creating data source, while creating the data set, you have to be very careful. Why? Because sometimes fetching all the columns will create performance issues. If the data table is too huge, like in billions of records, when you check the count, if it is in billions, then it will create performance issues when you try to pull all the unnecessary data into your SSRS report. So better stick to the columns that you want for your SSRS report design. Now I've done a couple of things manually instead of using wizard. One is creating the shared data source, and second one is creating the connection in my data that is a data source that is specific to the report, and the third one is I created the data set. Now what I have to do is I have to take the style. I have to choose the style. What style of report I'm going to design here. For that, you have to go to the toolbox. Here is the option under View menu. You can see the toolbox option. Shortcut Ctrl+Alt+X. Here you can see a line is there option. A text box is there. Table matrix, which we have seen in last class while discussing about report server project with that, and rectangle, list, image, or some other toolbox items that are available to make your report design better. Now let's take the table format. Now what we have to do is we have to provide the fields for each column. Where we have to show, on what sequence we want to show. Let's say I want to see first name first. Whenever you your mouse is on a particular cell, then this icon will be popped up. So if you click on that, it will show you the columns or fields that are present in the data set. You can simply select it, or you can drag and drop it like this. Now I created a table format, but it is occupying more space which I don't require. So let me remove the space, or else it will show white space at the end on the in the bottom and on the right hand side. Now I designed the report. So to improve the look and feel, I selected this top column list and I clicked on bold option. And then I'm giving background color to these particulars. Okay, don't bother about the background color now. A simple report is generated using table toolbox item. Let's see the preview. Now this is the report we created, that is table format one. I selected 4 columns, 4 fields. One is first name, middle name, last name, and gender. So we have done the same using report server project wizard in a better way. The look and feel was too good when compared with this one. You can always improve the look and feel of this report, but what I'm trying to say is it is too easy to create a report using the wizard, but people prefer going with the report item. The only reason is in 2005, whenever you create a report using the wizard and when you try to edit it, once the report is created and for example the requirement changes, so you have to edit the report. It doesn't allow you to edit. Whenever you try to edit it, it will automatically abruptly close. It was closing the application, so it was not giving you chance to edit the report created using SSRS report server wizard project template. Now let me add some look and feel to this. I'm going to properties, setting background color as this is polar style. This is the background color. And for these two, I'm changing the background color to light green. Like this, you can always change the formatting type, format settings for any report you design. So this is how to create a simple report using report item. And it's a bit difficult. There are so many steps involved. Like first you have to create the data source, and then you have to create the data set and choose the correct item report template, whether it's a tabular or matrix one that you want to develop. Choose that one and select the columns, and then give the design and all. If you see, comparatively, report server project is damn easy. But as I told you, people don't prefer it, and the reason already I explained. Now let me add one more. I'm taking new item, report. Here, instead of creating the shared data source, I'm creating the embedded data source. Why? Because I'm not going to point to AdventureWorks, I'm going to point to some other table. In that case, if my shared data source is connecting to AdventureWorks or a particular database, and if you want to design a report, single or couple of reports pointing to different data source, then you can directly uh, embed the connection to the report. Let's take cricket database, and okay, now I have to create the data set. So let's start from it is saying that data set is the table is not available. I think it is match batsman first. Now the data set is created, and you can see all the columns are created as fields in the data set. Now what we have to do, we have to go to the toolbox, select the report style what you want to create. If it is table, drag and drop the table, and select that ball ID, let's say bowler and line extras, whatever you want. So added the columns, and then if I see the preview, the report will get it. This is simple, even though comparatively it is a bit difficult when compared to creating the report using reports, but still it's easy. It's not going to take much time to define the report. So now let's see how to define the matrix reports using SSRS report server project. It is a bit difficult when bit different when compared to the creating table report. What we have done now, let's see how to create the matrix report. In table report, we directly dragged and dropped the columns, or we selected the columns when by clicking on this pop-up icon. But matrix format, it's a bit different. As I told you, matrix will group the data on both rows and columns. Let's see how to do that. I'm taking a new report, new item, report item. I'm calling it as matrix sheet. Add new item. Matrix first. Here I'm setting the data source connection. I'm gonna use share data source connection. So selecting this option. AdventureWorks is my shared data source name. Okay. Now data set. I'm gonna take the query what we used to create the matrix reporting while working with the report server project wizard. Let me write the query first. Select. Let me design the query in SQL Server first. sales amount from fact internet sales so this is fine. Now join dim product on dim product dot product key is equal to fact internet sales dot product key. Actually, we generated these queries using wizard there while working on project server, report server project wizard. But here we have to write our own query. English dim product subcategory on dim product subcategory dot product subcategory key. The same thing will be here. Now I'm joining with category table. So now the joins are ready, and let me add the remaining columns. English product category name is 1, comma, comma. So if you see, I joined fact table, transaction table, that is fact internet sales, with a couple of dimension tables to get the information like English product subcategory and English product category and the English product name wise sales. Now let me use the same query here. And it's executing properly. So my data set is ready with 4 records, 4 fields. Now let me create the matrix format. For that I have to add matrix report, matrix toolbox item. Here it is prompting, it is saying rows, columns and data. So what are all the items you want to group by columns, you have to select here. I want to group by product category on the columns. And here what are you want to group by row wise. So I want to group by English product subcategory. And what data you want to see? I want to see sales amount. Let's see how this looks. I've given English product category name for the column group, and I've given English product subcategory name for the row group, and the details I want to show sales amount. When I select the sales amount, it is taken sum of sales amount. Why? Because this column and this one is gonna group. So when you group, then you have to add. Then the aggregate function should be there. If you see, if this is the query, and I'm asking the server to group by these items, English product category name, subcategory name and product. Then obviously it will ask for the non-group item to have some aggregate function, either sum or average or minimum or maximum, something like that. So in the same way, I am grouping based on English product category name on columns and English product subcategory name on rows, and that's why the sum, the sales amount will be summed up. These are all the different subcategories. On the first column you can see, on the first row you can see different categories: bikes, accessories and clothing, and this is the sales amount based on the subcategory and category groups. Let's design bit better. Let's give some better look and feel. I'm making it is bold and then giving a background color dark green. We'll discuss about all these formatting options in next classes, but just let's see how it looks when we change the format, when we change these formatting options. Now I change the report a bit. Now it looks better than earlier. It is giving you some better look and feel. On the left hand side, you can easily identify what are all the grouped items, that is product subcategory items. On top, you can easily find out what are all the category items that are grouped. And you can change it even. You can set everything to the left. Here also everything to the left align. And now the look will be even better. So now everything is left aligned. Or if you want to right align the column items, so select here and click on this. Now it will be right aligned. So this is how we can create matrix format reports using report items. Now, where is my products? I added products also to the data set, and I can make use of it in generating the report. Now I want to show products after subcategory here. So for doing that, what we have to do is we have to right click on the row, as I'm showing you here. Right click on the row, insert group below. I'm asking to insert a group below to the group that is already available. Or you can directly right click here, add group, child group or parent group. If it is parent group, the column that I'm going to add, that is a product, product name in this example will become the parent and it will come first. And we know parent is child to the subcategory. So a single subcategory will have many products. So the parent to child relationship should be subcategory to product, and that's why I'm selecting this child group and taking this product name. Click on OK. Now let me see how it looks. This is as simple as this. Adding a group to the existing report. Now these are all the different products that belongs to my mountain bikes subcategory. In the same way, this is road bikes subcategory, and these are all the products that belongs to road bike subcategory. And you can click on next and see what are all the different subcategory types and the products that belongs to subcategory type and the sales amount of it. So this is how you can create SSRS reports without using wizard. Now let's see whether it is mandatory to have only one data set per report. This report, if you see matrix DS, I have already a data set created with the name dataset 1. Now I'm right clicking on this and selecting the option add dataset. I'm using the data source that is shared, the data source I created for this report. Here you can see on the left hand side matrix _DS. And here I am giving a simple query: select star from bin product. Okay, and I click on fields. The columns that are present in the table will be listed in the fields list. Okay, two data sets got created. Now two data sets are there. One is data set 1 and one is data set 2. When I come here and add a column, here this is the icon to select the fields. When I click on this, it is showing only the first four fields that belongs to the four fields that belongs to the first data set. And the reason behind that one is whenever you select the first field of a table or matrix, then that particular table or matrix properties, if you go and see the properties, if you press F4, you will get this, it will take you to properties, or right click and select the properties window. Any one will do the job. So I click on F4 and these are all the properties of that tablets, and here you can see an option dataset name, it is set to dataset 1. So one table or one matrix or one tablets, you can have only one dataset items, one dataset fields from one dataset, any one you can select. Now if I change it to dataset 2, which I recently created, and run this report, then this report is gonna fail. And the reason behind this one is I set the dataset property to dataset 2, but these columns are not available in the dataset 2. If you come and see, these are all the fields from dataset 1, but I set the matrix dataset to dataset 2 where I will not find the columns or fields that I have used in this design. So what I have to do is whenever I change the dataset, then I have to make sure that I used only the fields that belongs to this dataset 2 or whatever the dataset was given. Now if you click on this icon which is for selecting the fields, it is gonna list the fields that are from the dataset 2. In short, one table or matrix or tablets toolbox item, you can have fields from only one dataset. You cannot have fields from multiple datasets. Now let me change it back to the original one, that is dataset 1 here. And now this one should work fine. Yeah, perfect. Now let me remove this. And you know this is the child group, right? The group 1, what we created for English product name is the child group. And if you double click on that, you can see the properties. There is a property called visibility. You go here, display can be toggled by this report item. English product subcategory name. Now I check that option, and when I run this, you can see the drill down option what we have seen earlier. Okay, the option what we have seen while creating the data source, and when we check the option drill down, so we got similar kind of report there. So we have so many properties to discuss in this grouping and all. Before going to that, let's discuss about most important property, that is parameters. So for Temporarily, let me remove this one. Now this is matrix report. Now I want to filter the data. If you see the data, there are so many records. I don't want to see everything. I want to see with some filter criteria. Like I want to see only mountain bikes information or only road bikes information. I want to filter the data based on any product subcategory. For that we can do in two ways. One is taking the help of filters, and the other one is taking the help of parameters. Let's see one by one. If you select this data source, you have both the options, parameters and filters. Let's take the filters first. Add a filter, English product subcategory name. What column you want to filter? You have to select this. English product subcategory name is equal to road bikes. Correct me if my spelling is wrong. Okay, I set some filter. Now let me preview it. There is no road bikes at all. Let me see in database what it is. Accessories, road bikes is there. Let me go to the report data, filters. Actually we have to give proper style as this is string. So let me go with like road bikes. If there is any space in the middle or in the end, this like will solve the problem. The problem was I selected product subcategory instead of product subcategory name. I selected category name. That's why there is no category called road bikes. This is my mistake. So now I have given the road bikes. Now when I see the preview, it has to filter the data for only road bikes. You can see the data is filtered, and there is no other bike, no other subcategories available. And you can add any number of filters like this. Add one more filter for let's say product, English product name like bike. So then now it will filter the data and it will return the result data set. There is no records for this. So good. Let me remove the filter. Now let me explain what the difference between what filter will do. Filter first, it will fetch the data and then filter out the records before displaying. For example, if this statement, if this query returns 1 lakh records, then it fetches all the 1 lakh records and then it filters the records with the subcategory name bikes. The disadvantage of having filters is the performance. If you have 1 million records, then it will fetch all the 1 million records and then it will apply the filter. and it is not like where class. First it will fetch everything and then it will apply the where class. So to your data set, it will get all the data. It is not going to apply where class in the database. It will get the data and then it will filter out. It will filter the resultant set, not the data from the data source. While fetching the data, if it is filtering the records, then it is well and good. The performance will be good. But it is pulling the result data from the database and it is applying this filter in the resultant set. So the performance is the biggest problem in using the filters. Okay. Now let me delete these two. To avoid these performance problems and if you want to filter the data, then the option is parameters. These parameters is the other case. It will filter the data at database level. When you query the data itself, that while querying the data from the database itself, it filters the data, like applying the where condition when you are executing a query. Let's see how to add filters, and after that we can see what's the difference between filters and the parameters. Before adding here, first I have to add parameters here. Okay, I'm adding a parameter and I'm giving this name as subcat, and with what name it has to be prompted. I will show you what is prompting. Subcategory and allow multiple values, no. Available values, no, none, and a parameter is created now. If you preview the report, here a parameter is available. If I say if I pass what the value we passed road bikes, right? Road bikes, and click on view report, then it is not gonna filter anything. It is fetching everything. I'm getting mountain bikes, road bikes and all. Why the functionality is not set? I have given the subcategory name by which I want to filter the data, but still the data is not coming, and the reason is I created a parameter but I have not connected it to the data set. See, this data set is not connected to the parameter, so I have to connect that parameter to this data set, so that the parameter value whatever we enter will be passed to this data set. How to do that? This is my select statement where English product subcategory name is equal to @subcategory. I'm defining a parameter @subcategory. Okay. For this particular query, this is not the parameter what we defined here. This parameter is to display and pass the value, and this parameter is will be available only till the query executes. So I'm asking the server, I've given a select statement and I have added where condition where English product subcategory name is equal to @subcategory. Now we have to tell what is this @subcategory here. So for that you have to go to the parameters. Here you can see @subcategory is available. I mean parameter. We have to link this parameter with a value, from where I'm gonna get value to this @subcategory. I have to specify that, and here I'm specifying by giving the parameter value. Now how it is gonna flow? First, it will show the subcategory in report. When I pass some value to the text box, that value will be assigned to this parameter @subcat, and then it will come to the query and it will check whether there is any parameters or not. There is a parameter called subcategory SUBCATGOR, and then it will come to the parameters option and it will check whether there is any linking value for this parameter name. There is a link. So whatever the value that I'm going to pass to subcat will be assigned linked to the subcategory parameter. Now it will get, this is a simple select statement, and at the end there is a where condition, and for this where condition parameter name, the value whatever we are going to pass will be passed to this. Let's click on OK and see whether this works. Road bikes. Now this value will be assigned to this subcategory SUBCAT, and in turn the subcategory value will be assigned linked to the, passed to the subcategory parameter what we define in dataset 1. Now let's see mountain bikes. It's getting only mountain bikes, and let's see some other example, that is shorts here. We have 3 items for shorts, and in the same way, vests. So this is how you can define a parameter and you can assign the value of the parameter whatever we are passing to the parameter defined in the data set, so that it will filter the data in the database and fetch the resultant set. If you see here, this query will become like this, where English product is equal to West. So it is going to apply the filter condition at database. Sorry, it should be like this. So this is advantages. This has advantages when compared with adding filters. Filters, first it will fetch the data, and if the data is very less, so no, then in that case no issues. If it is gonna fetch only 10 to 15 records or 100 records or max 1000, it is not gonna create any performance problem. But when the data is huge, like in billions, then it will fetch all the billion records into the front end, into the report data set, and then it will try to filter the data. It will filter the data. So fetching all the 1 billion records to display some couple of records that is gonna come after filtration part will obviously decrease the performance. So it's better to opt for parameters if the database is too huge and if you want to filter the data. Now this is fine. How these guys will remember the vests, mountain bikes? This is a bit difficult for them to remember all these things. So let's see how to list what are all the subcategories that are available. That will be easy option to the user, so that they can select one and click on view report. Then that particular value will be passed and will be displayed. Now let's see. To display what are all the product subcategory names, first thing what we have to do is we have to get that values. What are all the subcategory values that are available in the database? So for that, let me create a data set. Select start from Bing product subcategory. This one will fetch all the columns from the subcategory. Even though I don't need everything, just for example sake, I've written select star from. Now let me go to this parameter. Here, available values means what are all the available values for this particular parameter. You have three options. One is no, don't set any available values, so that the parameter prompting will become a text box. Specify values. You can specify the values like 1 and mountain bikes, 2 road bikes. Like that you can specify the value. If you specify like this, then it is gonna show those two values, 1 and 2, whatever you selected. This is one way of adding the parameters values. Instead of this will show the same. Label means the one what is gonna display when you select the drop down, and value is the one what it is gonna send to the server to filter part. So here the case both are same. Now these two are showing. If I select mountain bikes and click on view report, it will show only mountain bikes information, and if I click on road bikes and view report, it will show road bikes information. This is good and easy when you have very less number of records. You can come here and you can add everything one by one. Next is reverse. And there are a couple of other things, right? You can add everything. If the number of records that has to be shown in the filter in the drop down list is very less. Imagine I want to show account number and there are 1 crore account 1 crore customers, 1 billion customers or 10 million customers, like that. In that case, I cannot come here, I cannot add each and every value using this option. So what I can do is I can write a query which fetches the data and then get the values from query option. Okay, where we have that query? In dataset 3. What is the value field? What value you want to pass when you select it? If I select mountain bikes, what you want to pass to the dataset query or parameter value? You can select a product subcategory key or directly name. And here, what value you want to show as label field. I'm selecting product subcategory name for both. If I click on preview, it will list all the subcategories that are available, and I can select whatever I want to see and click on OK, so that the report data will be displayed. There is no information for change, but for West we have information. So you have to understand what is value and what is label field here. For example, in this case, I have given value field as English product subcategory name and label field as English product subcategory name. What will happen if I give English product subcategory key as value field? Let's see what it's gonna have. I selected chains for which we have data. I think I'm not sure, so I'm sure that we have data for West. Still, it is not returning any data. Why? Because I selected West here, but I opted for product subcategory key as the value field in the parameter. So whenever I select the West, it will send the value field, that is key will be sent to the parameter. Okay, I will show you an example here. Select start from okay. If I select mountain bikes, this is my label field. This will be shown as labels. If I select mountain bikes, the value that is gonna send to the assigned to the parameter is this one, value field, whatever we have given in the value field. And we have given value field as English product product subcategory key, and that's why this value will be taken into the parameter sub_cat. And if I select road bikes, it will send 2. If I select the handlebars, it will take 4. In that way, now the query becomes English product subcategory name is equal to 1. So this doesn't have any meaning. There is no subcategory name 1. Correct? Subcategory name is mountain bike, but the key is 1. So what we have to do is, if you decided to go with key column as the value here, value field is key column, and label as name, then you have to change the query in such a way that it will filter on product key. Where product subcategory key is equal to the value that is gonna assign to this parameter name, and this is the parameter name. This parameter name will get the value from subcategory. Subcategory will get the value that is value field. So this one should work. And if I run this for which one we have data, west we have data. Yeah, here it is. It will pass the key value, and the key value will be assigned and compared in the where condition. So this is how you can assign the values, set the available values for a parameter, and connect it to the data set which is pulling the data. I'm repeating it. The query what I have given to pull the data, or in other words to create my data set, is this one. Okay, to be full and full without the sales amount. This is the query, and in first case I passed same value field is equal to English product subcategory name and label field is also the same. Both is English product subcategory. So when I label field is the one what you can see here. If I set what are all items that are visible, if I give English product subcategory in key as label field, then you will come to know the difference. I'm giving key, and if you come and see, it will show only key. So label is the one which is visible to the user, which an user can see. So I've given English product subcategory name for both the things. So if I select any name from the parameter here, handlebar, brakes or chains, the same value will be sent to this condition, parameter condition. Why? Because the label field and the value field. When I select any label, from the parameter, then this value will be assigned with the value field of the same label selected. The value field here is key. That's why the key will come and assign to this subcategory. If I select a label name, if I select subcategory name bikes, then the value bikes will not be assigned to this subcategory. The value will be either 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the key, subcategory key of the value English product subcategory name bikes. If bikes has a key value of 4, then whenever I select bikes, the subcategory value will be 4. Whenever I select mountain bikes, and if the key value is 6, the value that is gonna assign to the subcategory is 6. Like that, I specified to take key column as the value field. So when I select any label item, the value field will be that is gonna assign to this value that to this subcategory parameter is product subcategory key. But my where condition, I am checking with the English product subcategory name. If the chain comes for this, fine, this will work fine. If I pass 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that, the English product subcategory keys, then it is not going to return any records. Why? Because it is a condition checking between the name and the value passed is the key. So this is impossible condition, rare condition. So we have to be very careful. Whatever the value field you have given here, you have to check the same here in the where condition. Product subcategory key. If I run this is ambiguous column. Why? Because this column exists in two tables. So I'm giving table name dot subcategory. So like this it will filter out. Actually category key 1 is equal to mountain bikes. When I select mountain bikes, 1 will be passed to the parameter value. 1 will be assigned to this parameter value, which in turn assigned to the parameter that is defined in this data set. Here we are assigning subcategory with the subcategory value, right? So we have to be very careful. Whatever the value field we are taking, we have to give the same in the where condition. This is how we can have one data set, one parameter value to filter out. What if I want to filter both mountain bikes and road bikes information, or mountain bikes and west information? In that case, my parameter should accept to more than one value, multiple values. So to achieve that, what we have to do is we have to check this box, allow multiple values, and click on OK. Now see, you can select multiple values. Okay, I selected multiple values, and why this error? An error is coming. So when you select multiple values, then equal to will not work in any database. Only when you have only one value, then only this equal to will work. When you have more than one, then it should be in and bracket start and bracket end. That should be in brackets. Now let's see whether it's gonna work or not. Let me take mountain bikes and west from here. Now I got mountain bikes information. I'm not sure whether, yeah, and west information. Now let me remove these mountain bikes and select road bikes. I got road bikes information and at the same time west information. So this is how you can filter using parameters, and parameters are most powerful feature that is available in SSRS reporting. This is very useful one. You can filter the data in many ways. In couple of ways. One is using filters and one is using parameters, and obviously parameters is the best option if the resultant data set is gonna filter hell of records. So this is about creating SSRS reports in using report server project and adding parameters which will prompt for the value, and assigning values to the parameters so that user can easily pick the values, and giving an option for selecting multiple values in the parameters. In next class, we will discuss about more features that are available in SSRS report development. Catch you in next session.